system is one of the most used technique. But why do we need to manage our data? And where this data comes from? So if you see, everywhere we are actually generating data. To manage those data, we need to have a proper database management tools. So keep that in mind. We came up with a tutorial where we will learn about SQL, and that will help you to manage your data. So let's get started. And let's have a look at what agenda we have for this tutorial. So first we will have a look at what is database, right? And what are the example of databases we have. Now we will come up to why do we need database and what is database management system and how this database and database management system are related to each other. Then we will have a look at the history of database management system. Then we will have a look at what are the most used database softwares we have. And then we will jump into the types of database systems. Then we will have a look at what are the advantages if we go for using database management system. Lastly, we will have a look at what is relational database management system and what's the difference between DBMS versus normal traditional file system. And we will also have a look at what is the difference between DBMS versus relational database management system. Then we will have a look at the key concepts we have in RDBMS. Then we will also have a look at what are the types of key we have in RDBMS, the relational database management system. Then we will have a look at the difference between super key and candidate key. Then we will look at what is normalization and why do we need normalization and what are the types of normalization we have in SQL. Then we will have a brief look about what is SQL stands for and how can you install SQL in your local system. And then we will have a look at the data types we have in MySQL. And then types of commands we are going to use in MySQL to maintain your data, to manage your data. Then we will see how can you filter your data in MySQL and what are the operators we have in MySQL. And lastly, we will see how can you use pattern matching concepts in MySQL. Now we will have a look at what is database. A database is a container where a data can be collected systematically. Managing and manipulating data with the concept of database are very easy. Now let's have a look at why do we need database. What are the examples of databases we have? So first, suppose you have an online telephone directory, right? So if you need to maintain that online telephone directory, how can you do that? That time you need to have a database where you can store your data. The data is like name, address, phone numbers and other contact details. So this is where the database concepts comes into the picture. Let's have a look at the another examples of database. Suppose you have an online library. In that time, if you want to have a look at what are the books you have and what is the count of your book and what are the domain or genre you have in your library, in that time you need to have a database because in a library you will have millions of books and maintaining them in a traditional way is not possible. So that time the databases come into the picture and the database can help you to maintain your data for millions of books. Now, let's have a look at what is database management systems. So basically, a database management system, which is called as DBMS, is basically a software where you can store, retrieve, define, and manage your data in a database. So basically, we need this system to manage our data, to retrieve data from a huge numbers of data, and you can manage and define your data as well, right? Now, let's have a look at what is the history of database management system. How it came into the picture. So basically in 1960, Charles Bachman designed first DBMS system. And then 1970, Cott introduced IBM's information management system that is known as IMS. Then 1976, Peter Chen coined and defined the entity relationship model, also known as ER model. Then in 1980, relational model becomes a widely accepted database component. Then the revolution comes in 1985. The object-oriented DBMF develops. Then a huge development again in database management system. Then in 1990s, incorporation of object-oriented in relational DBMS. Then in 1991, Microsoft ships MS Access a personal DBMS and that displaces all other personal DBMS products. In 1995, first internet database applications. And in 1997, XML applied to database processing, many vendors begin to integrate XML into database or DBMS management system products, right? Now, let's have a look at what are the most used database management systems we have. These are the software we use to manage our data. We have MySQL, we have Oracle, then we have PostgreSQL, then SQLite. We also have MariaDB that is also similar to MySQL. And we also have some other examples as well.